Hi, everybody. It's Dr. Ballard, live from my very lovely basement tonight since my husband and the boys are upstairs. But I wanted to go ahead and introduce myself to anybody that's listening today that doesn't know me personally. So again, my name is Dr. Ballard. I'm a chiropractor and I practice in Effingham, Illinois, at my very own practice, Ballard Family Chiropractic. So there are a few things that I focus on in my office. The first and foremost is pediatric care. So I'm just about done with my certification in pediatrics. And so children are really the lifeblood of my practice. They're my focus. They're my passion. The other thing that I absolutely love and adore is functional medicine. I'm finishing up a certification in functional medicine as well. And after I get that done, I'll be able to do my certification to be board certified in clinical nutrition. So all of these things are my passions. If I can use chiropractic care and then its kind of counterpart, proper nutrition, to help your body function at its best, keep you off of medications, and have you help you to live a happier and healthier lifestyle, that's exactly what I'm about. So one of the things that I see a lot is a lot of people have a lot of access to fantastic information, but I find that it's really hard for you to use that information unless you have kind of a base of knowledge to build from. So that's one of my goals today, is to give you really simple tips, simple things that you can actually start to implement to make changes in your life and your lifestyle so that you become healthier over time. So the first thing that I want to start off with talking about really is the terminology. A lot of times people come in, especially in the beginning of the year, and they start talking about their diet, which dieting is necessary a lot of times, but it's not necessarily about going on a diet to lose weight. I really want you to start thinking about, instead of dieting, start talking about changing really that's ultimately what we want to do. I don't want to put you on a diet, have you make great changes, and then completely revert to your old habits when that 3 weeks or 3 months is over. I don't want you to hit a weight loss goal and then celebrate with a big dinner that's full of stuff that you shouldn't eat in the first place. And this is what we do. You know, I had a colleague once tell me that every time his patient hit her weight loss goal, her and her mom went out for a big dinner at TGI Fridays, which I thought was so funny. It's like, I lost 15 pounds, I'm going to add 3 back on tonight. But that's what we have a tendency to do. When we are dieting, we put a timeline on it. I'm going to meet this goal, and after that, I'm not dieting anymore. But if we focus on lifestyle changes, then we have a little bit more grace with ourselves. We know that there's going to be some ups and downs, that we can't always be perfect because our lifestyle fluctuates. So one of the things that I talk about, 20 rule, and this is pretty common, so hopefully you've heard of it before, but try to make 80% of your dietary choices healthy. And we're going to talk about what healthy choices are in just a minute. So I know those are really vague terms, but try to eat 80% healthy. And then the other 20% can be those things that you go, well, you know, this is a lifestyle. I have to be able to live it. I have to make it work for me. In my case, I have to be able to make it work for me and my husband and 3 kids. So you all know how kids can be sometimes. And you have to know that there are some times when you're going to be like, eat the hot dog, whatever. But for the most part, we want them eating healthy. So when we talk about the what to eat and what to eat or what not to eat, out of things that we can do, and I encourage my patients a lot. In what I do with functional medicine, I look at your blood work, I look at hair analysis, I look at saliva testing to try to figure out what parts of your body are dysfunctional or not working at their best. And then I use targeted nutrition to correct these things. So one of the things that I talk to my patients about is changing their diets, but more importantly, adding in foods that are going to help their bodies to function better so that we don't have to do as much supplementation. Because really, shouldn't we all be eating our way to health? Most of us have eaten our way to unhealthiness. So this is the logical step. Reverse what you have been doing, and we're going to be better off. So really what I tell people to do is, well, hair analysis is fantastic for this because it tells us exactly where your deficiencies lie. So then I can tell you how specifically to eat your way to health. But know this, for every supplement that you would be taking, there are foods out there that would fulfill your needs. So for example, say you have a thyroid issue. Thyroids need something called selenium. They need iodine. So selenium helps in the conversion of hormones to other hormones that your thyroid needs to function. The iodine is also super necessary. Anyway, I won't get into the details of that, but just know this. Selenium is really high in Brazil nuts. It's also really high in garlic. So rather than putting you on a selenium supplement, I can just tell you, I want you to eat 2 to 4 Brazil nuts every day, and I want you to add garlic to at least 1 meal every day. And that's going to help in the conversion of hormones. So it keeps you off of a supplement while also improving the function of your thyroid. You need some iodine, eat some seaweed. You can actually get like dried and ground up seaweed and you can sprinkle it on your food. So these things are accessible. You know, if you need more calcium, and say you're even, we'll go another step, say you're lactose intolerant. There's this misconception that dairy is the only way to get calcium and all kids should be on dairy. Well, if your child has a history of sinus issues, allergies, ear infections, one of the first things I'm going to tell you to do is get them off of dairy. So one of the questions I get a lot is, well, what about the calcium? You get just as much calcium, if not more, in dark green leafy vegetables. There's calcium in almonds. So you can really switch up the foods that you're eating in order to meet those dietary needs and support your body properly. So really, it's not about running to Walmart or Walgreens or even to the shelves in my office to get these supplements. Start thinking about eating for your health. So if you have a known condition, I'd be happy to help you find the right supplement for you, or more importantly, find the right foods for you. And this is simple, guys. You don't have to have a degree or a whole bunch of letters after your name. You just need to be able to do a Google search and say which foods are, say, high in vitamin C or high in B vitamins to help out your adrenal glands, for instance. So think about these things. Think about the foods that are high in good fats, which I know that it might surprise you to hear me talk about eating more fat, but that's one of the things we do need to do. You can get good fats in things like almonds, in all the cold water fish, in olive oil, in butter. So we can eat good fats. We don't necessarily need to go and supplement with fish oils. So like I say, think about starting to eat for your health. One of the first things that I have people do when they come into my office, aside from Brazil nuts, because Brazil nuts are super simple and they're really helpful for the thyroid, and it really helps to drive hormone balance within the body, the thyroid gland does. But one of the things I have them do is switch their salt, which is not something that we think about a lot. A lot of people will go to Walmart, they'll buy the regular iodized table salt. But I've had a number of people who go, oh no, we don't use that. We use the good stuff. We use Himalayan pink salt, or we use sea salt. Well, there are differences in those salts even. So the best that I have found is a brand called Selena Naturally Celtic Sea Salt. And the reason I say that this is the best is because humans are made up of a variety of minerals, and at certain levels. And Selena naturally has minerals in it because it's a sea salt. It's not been processed. The minerals have not been removed, like in a traditional iodized table salt. So when we have these minerals, they can help to fix areas where our bodies are depleted. So again, it's a way to eat your way to health. But also because it has those minerals, it also helps to improve water balance in the cell. So if you're a person that deals with a lot of inflammation, this is a great way to go. If you have a lot of swelling, contrary to popular belief, the swelling is not necessarily caused because of salt. It's because you have imbalance in the cellular fluid, and the right type of salt, sodium and chloride with other minerals, can really help to improve that cellular water balance. So if you have issues with like asthma, if you have issues with swelling ankles, a lot of times that's one of the things I do is put you on a better salt, which seems the opposite of what most people would logically think you need to do, which is stay away from salt. People with blood pressure issues, put them on a better salt, a salt that's going to help to improve the water balance in the liver to the cell instead of collecting outside of it where it becomes inflammation or increases the blood pressure. So these are a couple things to think about. But I think Selena Naturally Celtic Sea Salt, I carry it in the office. It's also available on Amazon, but it's the best I found. It's the closest match to what our human mineral content is. It's better than the Himalayan pink salt, better than Redmond's real salt, and certainly better than any iodized salt that you'd be buying at like Walmart. So salt. I usually will have people do half a teaspoon to a teaspoon a day. So it's super simple. It's not changing what you're doing. It's just making a healthier swap, which is actually the next thing I want to talk about. When we talk eating our way to health, there are certain things that I think we need to avoid. I don't encourage you to focus on the things that you need to avoid because I think that can be really overwhelming. And it usually will lead to more of a feeling of deprivation, like, oh, I can't have this, I can't have that. those are the things that people will fixate on. It can make dieting or lifestyle changes more challenging. Because again, it's not necessarily that you can't have them, is that you're going to make healthier choices the majority of the time, and those will really become more treats. They'll become more the exception than the rule. So one of the things that I encourage you to get rid of is white flour and white sugar. So these are refined products, which means that they've been processed, and in the processing of them, they strip them of nutrients and minerals. So really you have a food that's high in calories, but it really does nothing to improve the health of your body. And we just spent that time talking about eating our way to health. So this is one thing that I really encourage you to change. And again, it doesn't have to be tremendous changes. I'm not asking you to go and clear out your pantry right now, because again, I don't think that's livable, and that's not the way I was able to do it. I think you need to think about making small changes over time. So if you enjoy baking like I do, one of the things that I did was go, okay, I'm not going to buy white flour right now, plain white flour. Instead, I'm going to start buying whole wheat flour. If you can find sprouted flours, that's even better. And you just swap it. So now I don't happen to have white flour at my house. I have the wheat flour, and that's what we use now for baking. I use it for just about anything. Even if I'm making cookies, that's what I use now. The other thing that I switched out was my sugar. So instead of having white sugar, I either use like an organic evaporated cane juice, that's sugar. There's plenty of other unrefined sugars, things like Rapadura or Demerara sugar, which these terms may all seem new to you. You can find these things online, or if you're local, if you just make a trip up to Arthur, which I know that's not the most convenient place in the world, and there's not a whole lot of reasons to go to Arthur unless you're searching out this type of thing, but there's Beachy's Bulk Food Store. They have all of these sugars, and you can get them. They're really wonderful, and they're inexpensive. But it's an easy swap, because now you're getting a food that may not still be the best thing in the world for you, but at least it's coupled with minerals. So you are getting some benefit from the food when otherwise you would be getting no benefit at all, just literally the empty calories that can be so depleting to your body. So that's a couple little changes. The other things you can think about are cooking with better fats. Get rid of the canola oil, the corn oil, the margarine. Start cooking with real fats, coconut oil, butter, olive oil. All of those things are wonderful. Some of the grapeseed oils are great. Think about your baking powder. They have aluminum-free baking powder. Who even knew there was aluminum in these things? I have to pay more attention to aluminum because I have a family history of Alzheimer's. But the aluminum, you can get the baking powder without, and it's just as simple as looking for it, and then when you run out, replacing it with something better. So there we go. Better salt, better fats and oils, better sugar, better flour. Start making these switches, and like I say, do small amounts over time, and then it's not overwhelming. And over time, you'll realize that your pantry has completely transformed. I did want to mention one thing. When I was talking about the sugar, the evaporated cane juice, the organic stuff, I get that at Aldi, and you can get it too. So really, these things are accessible, far more accessible than they used to be. So that brings me to my next point, which is when you're shopping, spend the money on organic where it matters. So when you talk about organic, some people still are unaware of what that means. And really what it means is that food was raised with no herbicides, no pesticides, and no fungicides. Because really, how many of us need more chemicals on our bodies? Women use a tremendous amount of body products each day, and we're sponges. So we absorb all of that, and then our liver has to detoxify it. So if we can limit that, especially in the foods that we eat, it's a great thing to do. So there are 2 Google searches that you need to do. The first is for the Dirty Dozen, and this will show you the 12 fruits and vegetables that are the most contaminated by herbicides and pesticides and fungicides. So they are the ones, usually they're thinner skinned fruits, things like apples and grapes, and so the herbicides and pesticides will really penetrate the fruit. So it's not something that can just be washed off. So look at the Dirty Dozen. Those are the ones there where I say, hey, it's worth it. Spend a little bit extra and go organic when you can. Like our local Aldi in Effingham, Illinois, which is not exactly a metropolis, it has organic carrots, has organic bananas, has organic apples. So these things are accessible to us, and they're really not that much more expensive for a product that's going to be far more healthful to you and to your children. So think about that. The other Google search you do is for the Clean 15. So they are the exact opposite of the dirty dozen. They're the 15 fruits and vegetables that you don't have to worry about as much. So the clean 15, you can buy that stuff conventional, if you will. So it's been treated, but your body's not going to absorb it as much because it doesn't penetrate the fruit or vegetable like it does the products that are on the dirty dozen list. So again, go organic when it matters. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and this one is something that we don't think about a lot, but I think that it's important. When we're making lifestyle changes, one of the presentations that I've done over the years is a presentation called "You Are What You Drink." I find a lot of us are drinking calories and drinking a crazy amount of calories. It's not just like, oh, you know, they added a couple drops of that flavored stuff to their water. Most of us, or not, I've had a number of patients come in that are drinking 5 or 6 or 10 sodas a day, which is crazy to me, but they're not drinking water, or we're drinking a lot of really highly flavored coffees. You know, if you go to McDonald's and you get one of their latte drinks, it's like 300 calories. But a lot of times, because we're drinking it, we don't think about the calories that are in it at all, let alone the sugar and that kind of thing. So start really thinking about that. Think about what you're drinking. A good rule of thumb is you should be drinking about half of your body weight in ounces of water each day. I think that's a really simple rule of thumb. So if you weigh 200 pounds, you drink 100 ounces of water. If you weigh 150 pounds, you'd be drinking 75 ounces of water each day. So if you think about that, I think a fair number of people will hit that goal, especially with water coolers at work and that kind of thing. But you also have to keep in mind, if you're drinking coffee has caffeine. It acts as a diuretic. So you need to replace that cup of coffee with water, so a cup of water as well, but then probably a little bit extra because that caffeine acts as a diuretic. A lot of times people don't do that. Same thing with tea. You know, if you drink 32 ounces of tea, it's not full of sugar necessarily, unless it's, of course, sweet tea, but it still has some caffeine. It can act as a diuretic. So we need to replace, even though it's primarily water that makes up tea, we still have a diuretic effect from the caffeine in the tea. So we still need to be replacing a little bit of that water that we're losing because we drank the product with caffeine. So really, just think about the choices that you're making when you are drinking, because those are not just empty calories. Well, they are empty calories, but they're not calorie free is what I mean to say. So really, you can hit a high number of calories even with just a couple glasses of those things in a day. So the other couple things that I wanted to mention to you, which I know I talked a lot tonight about eating to improve your health, and I really do mean that. You know, if I can get away with having you add in healthy fats by means of a couple tablespoons of coconut oil in a day, so that you don't have to be on fish oil, great. That's absolutely what I want you to do. If I can have you start eating an orange to improve your vitamin C levels so that you don't bruise as easily, I'm going to have you do that. For patients that refuse to change their diet, or, you know, if you just don't understand what you need to change, there's a couple things that I recommend, and that's really supplementing when necessary. So sometimes our bodies are depleted enough, are deficient enough, that just changing your diet is not going to do it. So one of the things I use in my office is called a hair mineral analysis, and it's super simple. It's basically a tissue biopsy, but we tissue biopsy your hair, and what that will show us is your mineral levels. So we actually will see your own individual body's calcium level, magnesium, sodium, potassium. If you want more information on that, you can always stop in the office or shoot us an email or that sort of thing. But with a hair analysis, it will show me what minerals you're actually deficient in, so I know how to properly supplement you. That's not necessarily my point right now. My point is, when you do supplement, if you should get to that point where you need to supplement, you need to spend your money wisely. So if you're buying a supplement, I beg of you, go whole food. Do not do a synthetic. And what the difference is, a whole food is a supplement is literally a fruit or a vegetable. They dehydrate it at a low temperature so we don't mess with the nutrient content. They grind it up and they press it into a tablet. So the whole food company that I use is a company called Standard Process, and I use their sister company, MediHerb, as well. There are a couple others. New Chapter is one, and Garden of Life. They are whole food supplement companies. So you can get a good multivitamin, a standard processed multivitamin for a month that runs around $10 or $11. So these don't necessarily have to be terribly expensive products. But the difference is when you have a synthetic vitamin, which is what you're buying when you buy a product from Walmart or Walgreens or Sam's Club or Dollar General or whatever. When you go to a big box store and you buy a supplement off their shelf and say it's vitamin C, when you turn that label around, it says vitamin C in the form of ascorbic acid. Now the problem with this is ascorbic acid is not the entire vitamin C molecule. It's a big molecule, and it has ascorbic acid, something called PK and J factors. It has bioflavonoids, just to name a few. So this vitamin C is a big complex molecule, and so at some point somebody went, ascorbic acid, that's the important part. And so they started to extract the ascorbic acid. But the problem is that you still need those other things. You need the bioflavonoids, you need the PK and J factors so that the ascorbic acid can work at its fullest. So how many of you have ever started a supplement, taken it for a couple weeks, felt great, and then all of a sudden it stopped working for you? That's because when we give you a synthetic vitamin, it's like giving your body the car and then not giving you the gas to make it go. So you might be able to come up with gas for a little while, but then at some point your body's gonna run out. And so if I give you just ascorbic acid, you might have bioflavonoids and PK and J factors, and you can pull these things together enough to make that ascorbic acid really work great in your body for a short amount of time. But then when you don't have those other cofactors to make it work, you can actually make that deficiency worse because you still have to try to figure out how to process that vitamin. Whole food supplements are not like that because they give you the entirety of the molecule. So like I say, if you're going to spend the money, spend it on a whole food supplement. Standard Process is an incredible company because they are whole food and they are organic, which I think is wonderful. Like I say, there's Garden of Life. There's, gosh, I just forgot the other one. You can rewind a little bit. New Chapter, that's what it is. So these other supplement companies, they're out there. There are other people recognizing that whole food is really the way to go. So again, if you're going to supplement with something that's quality. You'll get a better effect from it because, again, your body has absolutely everything it needs to process that vitamin, and you can do it at a lower dose. So that's really the more important thing to me. And when you're working with something like food, then you're not going to have the reactions like you would because, for example, Standard Process, and I'm just using them because I'm the most well-versed in their products. Their product, Catalin, which is their multivitamin. It's made with things like carrots and pea vines. So I don't know how many people out there have ever had an overdose of carrots or have had a bad drug reaction to carrots. But this is my point. Your body recognizes it as a food. It knows how to utilize it and how to process it. And then we don't have the interactions and the worries that we might with a synthetic. The other thing is because it's a food source, we don't get the extra junk. Like, for example, B vitamins, if you're going to get a B vitamin, a complex B, something like that from Walmart or Walgreens, the source of that is not something like carrots or pea vines. The source of most B vitamins is actually coal tar. Sounds pretty appetizing, right? So yeah, a byproduct is where they're actually getting their B vitamins. So how well do you think your body processes this byproduct, this coal tar, the B vitamins that have been chemically extracted from coal tar is what you're taking. So like I say, I would absolutely spend the money, look and investigate whole food supplements. I have some resources at the office if you need it. But again, just to kind of recap, these are the things that I think are really the easy ways to start to implement a healthy lifestyle. First of all, start to think of it as a healthy lifestyle. This is not a diet. These are real, lasting, implementable, easy changes that are eventually, over time, going to lead you to a much healthier place than you were at to start with. Second of all, that 80-20 rule. Remember, we can't be perfect. There's no way to do it. Our lifestyles are too busy these days. We deal with too much stress. We just simply can't be perfect. And you shouldn't put that kind of stress on yourself anyway. Nobody can be perfect. But no, you can make good decisions, and you can do it consistently. And you can choose every so often to give yourself a treat so that you don't feel completely deprived and you can make this a lasting decision for yourself. So 80% of the time, make those good, healthy choices. 20% of the time, it's okay to slip. So also, eating for your health. We all know what to do now. We need to eat more fruits, more vegetables, right? I usually, generally, great rule of thumb, 5 to 9 servings of fruits and vegetables in a day. If you do that, there's not as much room for crap, so it makes it a lot easier to satisfy that 80% good. So like I say, eat to improve your health. Simple Google searches when you're in need of, say, calcium, or in need of vitamin C or B vitamins or vitamin D. You can go right to Google. You can find those food sources of those things, make those the things that you eat in higher amounts for a few days, and replenish the body naturally. Think about eating good salts. Stop drinking soda. Stop drinking empty calories all day. Increase your water intake. And I think, again, lastly, go organic when it matters. And when you can't do these things, when you can't find great food, when all else fails, that's when we supplement, but supplement correctly in a way that your body actually needs. There's very simple testing that we can do to be sure you're getting what you actually need and not just taking the new biggest thing that they talked about on Dr. Oz, but do what your body needs and do it in a way that your body can actually utilize that supplement. The easiest way is to do it in the form of a whole food supplement. So again, I hope these things were really pretty easy to understand. Hopefully they'll be pretty easy to implement. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. It's Dr. Ballard at ballardfamilychiro.com. I usually get back to you as soon as I can. You're also welcome to email info@ballardfamilychiro.com if you need any more information about hair analysis or any of the things that we talked about today. Bethany or I will get back to you as soon as possible. Give the office a call. It's 217-347-5010. You can find us online, ballardfamilychiro.com. You can find us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/ballardfamilychiro. On our website, you also have the opportunity to sign up for our newsletter so that the next time we do something like this, or we run an event at the office, or do our movie night or that sort of thing, you'll be up to date. We also have our testimonials online for patients, maybe just like you, who've had issues in the past. Ranges from infant issues like colic or ear infections or behavioral issues to chronic low back pain or chronic neck pain, plantar fasciitis, and some nutritional cases as well. Some girls suffering from infertility that were able to conceive. I know I've got some women with breech babies that have turned after chiropractic care. So all sorts of great stuff on our website, and definitely some stories of hope as well. So again, if I can be of any help to you in the future, you know how to get a hold of me. My email, or again, 217-347-5010. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you leave a positive comment for me if this is helpful to you. Otherwise, I hope to see you again on the next webinar. Have a good night.